Alright, so this is going to be showing you how to use the Megform MTO Microsoft Excel sheet, which you'll find from SharePoint. The purpose of this sheet is to make it easier to do your takeoff. So you're basically going to be entering like a shortened up code for whatever labor line or material you've got. It'll automatically, you put it in here, it'll populate it in the description, you'll enter the quantity, and it's pretty simple. So if you've got all these headings and everything on your sheet, we'll just go ahead and delete them first. So you got to make sure to click over here on the numbers, because if you do, otherwise you're just going to have to select. You're only going to be selecting individual cells. You're not going to be selecting the entire row. So we'll just click on whatever number we want all the way up to what we want to delete, or everything we want to highlight. Right click, click delete. So now we've got just these rows of database line, or where it says dbase, and we'll take this out. Right click delete. Alright, so you're going to start off by putting in whatever size labor line you've got, or whatever the main pipe is for that line that you're putting in. So for example, if your first line is 4-inch CPVC, you're going to put in CP. It's got to be in caps lock. Whenever you're putting in data code, all the letters have to be in uppercase. So we're going to start out by putting in CPV4, not CPVC4, but CPV4. Hit tab, and it'll bring up the description here. You'll see under man hours per unit over here that it's got the account code with it, and that's because this is our labor line, which is going to be our heading for the rest of the materials below it. So if you click on here, you'll see that it's up here. It's not the actual text, it's actually a lookup function. In order to get rid of that, so that we can change this text, we're going to hit this convert button. You can also hit Control V. That'll do the same function as a convert. So I'll just hit Control V, and it says conversion complete already. And so a note on that: when you're trying to paste something, you can't use Control V. You actually got to go in and paste. So after we do that, you got to do that after each labor line. We're going to go in and make it a special description. So we'll call it wherever this line is at, effluent pumps A and B section, and then we'll put in the page numbers also in parentheses. It'll let us know where it's at. Hit return. Now you're going to right click, make it bold, make it red. And what that'll do is later we'll be able to sort by text color, and that'll isolate all of our labor lines so that we can transfer it into this hard dollar tab. So but that'll be towards the end. So we'll put in however many feet of 4-inch CPVC we got. We'll say it's 20. Come back here. Now you're going to start entering in your materials. So, and it's going to follow this order here. So we're start with valves, meters, all the way down. If you're wondering how I knew what this data code was, or what it would be for PVC or ductile or anything, you're going to go into this database which holds all of these codes here. And we're going to look up what it would be. So at the very bottom of everything is where these codes are at, which it'll say right here, HD labor codes. And if you got ductile, what this stands for is ductile iron pipe, cement mortar lined pipe. And then your code is ductile cement spool S, and then your size. So we've got, if we wanted PVC 2-inch, just type in PVC 2 all the way through. Now, if you've got, let's say our 4-inch CPVC line, and you've got 2-inch line, like just 5 feet of 2-inch coming off of it, and it's also CPVC, it's going to be in their or let's say it's 3-inch. So look it up. And if it's under the same account code over here, so we've got our 3-inch and our 4-inch, you can see they're under the same account code. We're going to go ahead and include those in the same labor line. So we'll get to that later, but as we go, when we get to pipe down here, after we do our material takeoff for these other valves, meters, and instruments. But just keep that in mind. So if we already know we're going to add in 2 inches of, or a 3-inch CPVC line, 5 feet, we're just going to go ahead and make this 25 already, even though there's only 20 feet of 4-inch, which you'll see in a minute. So we'll start out with our valves. You're going to find them on the database. Look them up right here, valves. Say we've got 4-inch ball valve right here, VCB4. So we're going to go back to our mech form, VCB4, tab over. Say we've got 2 of them, hit enter, and that'll bring you right back to your data code. Now you're going to do that for meters. I believe the code for meters is MTR, which you can look it up in the database. This will pull up your meters, and if we want, we're going to want to change the name of this to whatever it is on your plans. But you can see this is still part of a lookup, so we're going to have to hit our convert button, hit OK, and then we can change the name of it a little. So we can go mag meter 4-inch pressure or flow rate, whatever the name of whatever it says on the plans, with flow rate meter with transmitter. So we got one of them. Now do the same thing for instruments. Instruments, the code is probably going to be under miscellaneous. That's just a, if you don't know what it is, if you can't find it in the database, just put it under miscellaneous. And then we'll say, again, it's under the look. It's got the lookup function, so we can't edit the text for this box yet. So we got to go convert. Okay, now we see that it is text. So under miscellaneous, if we've got instruments, we'll say pressure, 1/2-inch threaded pressure gauge, or pressure gauge threaded 1. Now we're up to pipe and fittings. So you'll enter in all your fittings. This includes any T's, elbows, everything that you'll see. So we look at CPVC, go up to 4-inch. So whatever we've got here, any of these would include as fittings, flanges, caps. So we'll just put in, so kind of the code, you get your material, what size, L as in a bend, and then the degree of that bend, so 90. So put in CPV 4L 90. Let's say we got 3 of them, and then say we got a reducing T, so we'll go CPV 4/2 RT. Bring up your reducing T. We got one of them. Now let's put in their pipe. So we'll say CPV or PP. That'll be the material code for whatever pipe you got. And say we got 20 feet. Now here's what I was talking about earlier, how if it's under the same account code, which would be anything from 0 to 2.5 inches, or 0 to 2 inches, and then would all, and the same material type would all be on the same account code. Anything from 2.5 to 10 inches, or 2.5 and up. So you can see here, we go back down to the bottom where all our labor codes are. So you got a half inch through 2 inch are all the same account code. 2.5 inch through 6 inch is all the same account code, and everything from 8 inch up is the same account code. So go back to our meg form, and actually it's not going to be under the same account code because we had a 2 inch. So if this really was a 2 inch line, then it'd have to be under a separate line here. We'll just make it a, let's say it's a 3 inch line coming off, just to illustrate. Then we got to put in our, we said we had 5 feet, and that's all tied up into here, into this labor. So this is really what's going to count for our labor. This is all parts and pieces. Okay, so we got our pipe and fittings, any flange access kits. If we had flanges on here, you'd find them in the database. Sleeves and link seals, same thing. Supports, so if we had supports going into the wall, we're just going to type in support. And again, this is part of the lookup function, so we're going to have to convert, hit enter. Now we can change the name. So we're always going to keep this support here at the beginning, just so that it sorts out alphabetically the right way, which you'll see later. But we're going to add in whatever type it is. So we got a 4 inch CPVC clamp. And if we got 2 of these, and we'll do the same thing. And what you can do actually is just copy, make sure to copy right here the entire row. And then we can just go into paste. And then we can just change whatever number this is. So 3 inch. That can just save you a little bit of time. It depends on how many you have. And we got 2 of them again. You might want to add in your support hardware, which you can find under the database. Grout and anchor bolts. Just you'll find under the database. Insulation and heat trace, same thing, towards the bottom. And you just go down the line for whatever division you're doing. Like if you're doing process pipe, you're probably not going to be putting in excavation and backfill or concrete encasement. You're always going to put in 1/10 of a cubic foot of grout underneath your supports, if they're not just hanging off the wall. So that pretty much brings us up. So let's say we had another similar line, and but this one was for the discharge. We'll hit convert. Everything's converted. And let's say it's almost the exact same line. We can just copy everything. Now we've got a whole new line, and then we can just change it. Like say this is for the discharge. And it's on page 2. And you can make whatever changes you want in here. So let's say maybe it's only 15 feet of 4-inch. Then we'd and 5 feet of 3-inch. We can just change 15. And that'll save you a lot of time. If you even if it's not that similar, but you got 5 things in a row that are similar, like it's similar supports or whatever, you can just copy and paste. Just drag across the rows that you want. Right click, copy, and then whatever line you click on to paste, it'll paste it above that line. So now we've got so let's say that was all of our MTO. We're done, which obviously we're probably not. You're probably gonna have a lot more than this, but so now what we're gonna do is we're going to delete whatever rows we've got here, or we're gonna erase everything below. So we're making sure we've just got those. Any empty database columns here, we're gonna delete. Okay. Now we're gonna replace this DBase. And if you ever need more empty ones, if you accidentally delete all those, you can just go up here, copy. So you're copying this entire row. You can come down here and let's say we want 8 more lines or so. Just highlight those, paste. Now you've got more DBase lines. Okay, so now what we're going to do is number these rows so that you're going to go 1, 2, 3. Highlight them. Bring this down. Okay. So now, if these ever get unordered, which we're about to do, you can always sort by this row again. So now what we're going to want is all of our labor lines at the top so that we can bring them in this hard dollar tab. So we'll select all of these rows, go up to sort and filter, custom sort, and we're going to want to sort by column D. Our description column. We're going to sort by font color. That's why we made those red. And that'll bring them to the top. So we're going to hit OK. Actually, it brought them to the bottom. So we're going to do that again. Bring the red on top. Alright, so now we got our labor lines up here at the top with our account codes. And now if we wanted to, we can sort back by the row of these. So we're gonna, but before we do that, we're gonna unsort these. Go to column A. So that's what is in here. We're going to sort by values. Alright, and that brings us back to what we're starting at. So now we're going to put in how many valves and fittings we've got per line. This is some kind of new, so it'll just kind of be an indicator of how many man hours per unit we should apply to that line. If it's valve and fitting heavy, then it's probably going to be more man hours per unit for that line, for that 25 feet. So we're just going to count them up, or you can enter them in here. So we'll go equals, and we've got 2 we'll go sum of here, and actually we can just drag it down. We'll include our meters, our instruments, and whatever fittings we've got, and that's everything. Close parentheses, and divide it by how many linear feet you've got for that entire line. So 25. Hit enter. Now you've got 0.32 valves and fittings per linear foot, and that'll just help with determining man-hours per unit later. Under our CVS code, this is going to be our comment column. So you're going to type in whatever bid item it is. So if it's 1, 2, 3, whatever, you're going to start with that, and then hit a space, and then whatever area it's part of. So for instance, for this, it'll probably be part of effluent pumps, or if the effluent pumps were all part of your effluent tank, you could put an effluent tank, and try to keep those consistent, so that those descriptions consistent, so that you can also sort by those. So, and then if you add, and then we do the same thing for this guy. So we've got however many valves and fittings. Should go sum all your valves and fittings divided by our linear feet. We got 0.4 there. So now we're gonna change that one too. Remember, bid item here, area description here, and so now we're going to sort by our labor lines again. So grab all our materials and everything, custom sort, column D, font color, put red on top. Okay. Now we're ready to bring this over here into hard color. Before we sort, we're going to change this into an actual value, because when we resort this, these are going to come through, or these are going to change up this number. So we're just going to type in equals, we'll just type in 0.32, because that'll just be our short calculation, and this will just be 0.4. So now it'll follow with these labor lines and not change. So now we'll go ahead and sort back. Column A, go to column B, font color, red on top. Alright. And now you've got all your labor lines together with your bid item here, your area here, or what it's part of, and you're ready to take that into hard dollar, which will be for another video. But now you should be able to do your material takeoff.